All right, everyone. So today I'm going to show you how I bought my recent triplex, and I'm going to kind of walk you through each and every one of the numbers and how I used the Bigger Pockets rental property calculator to figure out if it was a good deal or not. So here we go. I started by clicking on the Start a New Report, and that's biggerpockets.com/calc. Start a new report. And I'm going to give the title, the report, a title example. I'm going to put in a random address here because I don't want you coming to my rental property and harassing me. And I'm going to put the taxes in here. I'm also going to put the MLS number. Again, that's not the real one. But then I'm also going to add a photo just for the heck of it. Now, you don't have to do this to actually come up with an outcome, but I want to. So it looks pretty at the end. Now, I can add other property features here if I wanted to take the time: bedroom, bathroom, the property type, etc. I'm not going to. I'm going to move on. So starting here, I'm going to add the purchase price in, which was $70,000. I'll type that in. And the after repair value, I think it's worth about $130. It doesn't really matter for the calculations right now, but purchase closing costs, I could actually expand all these and put them in individually. But just for simplicity, I know that the purchase closing costs on this property are going to be about $5,000. And that includes almost everything with the property. If you don't know what those are, you can always ask your local title company, but that's what I figured out. About $5,000 for everything to close this loan. So I'll put that in here. I'm also going to put in the estimated repair costs. This property is going to take about $5,000 or so to fix up. I can also expand those and put them in one at a time, but I'll just put them up here for quickness reasons. All right below that, we got loan details. And I am going to choose 25% down payment because that is what my local lender wants to do. And so I'll put that in here, and then I'll put the loan interest rate. I'll put 5.5. That's what the lender offered to me. Now notice that it automatically calculated in $52,500 for the loan amount because I 25% down payment on $70,000 is $52,500. Then the interest rate 5.5. Points charged by the lender and other charges, I'm going to leave those alone because I already put them into the $5,000 for closing costs at the beginning. So finally, pay loan fees out of pocket, which means that I'm not wrapping them into the loan. I'll pay them at closing, which is pretty normal. Hard money, sometimes you can wrap them. Interest only, no, it's going to be amortized over 30 years. And a typical cap rate for multifamily in my area, I'm going to say 10. Now, you don't have to put that number in, but I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and click next step, and that should take me on to the third page of the calculator, which is our income. So we want to talk about the income and expenses. All right, so first of all, the gross monthly income. I could put a giant number here, but I'm going to actually separate it by unit. So $895 for unit A, $495 for unit B, and unit C is probably $495 also. Other monthly rent income, I won't put anything there. But let's go down to the expenses. Now these are monthly expenses. I know that water is going to run about $175. That includes sewer. Garbage is going to be about $75 a month. I'm also going to have insurance, going to cost me about $120, and I could add as many other monthly expenses as I want here. But the only other expense that I'm going to have that's kind of a typical thing is flood insurance. This property is in a flood zone, though I don't believe it should be, but they said it is. So I'm going to put $100 a month there because that's what my flood insurance is going to cost me. Oh, and keep in mind that property taxes were already entered in on page 1, so we don't have to re-enter them here. And finally, I'm going to get the variable expenses at the bottom here. Vacancy, I'm going to put 5. Repairs, I'll put 5. Capital expenditures, saving up for the big things that come once in a while, I'll put 5%. And property management, even though I will be managing this myself, I like to calculate that in just to see what it would be. And so I'm going to put 12% total. Finally, future assumptions. I'm going to assume that this property is going to increase 2% per year, and income is going to increase 2% per year, and expenses are going to increase 2% per year. Those aren't necessarily required, but I like to put them in here. All right, finally, we got our results page here, and let me just walk you through a few of the things that I discovered about this property. So the purchase price is $70,000. Again, closing costs $5,000 and repairs $5,000 means the total project cost is going to be $80,000 on this thing. I do believe this after repair value would be right around $130. Again, with the down payment of 25% of that $70,000 is $17,500 for a loan amount of $52,500. I'm not going to have any points or fees in here. Amortized over 30 years makes a monthly payment of $298.09. So this is kind of a cool number here. This tells me the total amount of cash that I'm going to need in order to buy this property. That's $27,500. Now what that is the down payment, $17,500, and the repairs. and the closing costs. So this is pretty much everything that I'm gonna have to come out of pocket with for this property, $27,500. Now this box up here to the right shows kind of the most important, the 8 most important numbers that I really care about. First of all, the monthly income at $1,885, and I know my monthly expenses is going to be $1,434. Now that's everything. That's the vacancy, that's the capital expenditures, that's everything. So $1,434, which means that my monthly cash flow looks like it's going to be about $450.42. And I can see that the pro forma cap rate on that is 11.23, and I'm actually buying it at a 12.83 cap rate based on those numbers, which means I'm getting a better deal than a 10 cap, which is what they normally sell for. If we go down a little further, we can see our NOI is $8,982. Total cash needed, again, $27,500. And the big number I like, the cash on cash return on investment is 19.65. So those are just some of the numbers that I can probably assume going into this deal. 19.65 is not too bad, and that's taking into account all those extra numbers. Let me show you one more cool thing here, and that is the income area, the expense, and the 50% rule. And so the income just shows me kind of a graph of the different areas that I'm going to be getting income in. And if I click on the expense button, I can see all the expenses also in a nice little graph. And then the 50% rule here is kind of cool. You know, I showed you what the monthly cash flow would be at the top, $450.42. But this also will calculate the 50% rule, just so it's nice to do the calculations both ways. So according to the 50% rule on this, the total monthly income is $1,885. 50% for expenses would be $942, and the payment of $298.09 would leave $644.41 for the monthly cash flow. If you want to learn more about the 50% rule, just click this video link right here, and I will walk you through exactly how to do the 50% rule. But moving on. So let's look at a couple more figures from this final results page here. I'm going to expand this page back out a little bit. We're going to look down here at the financial info. So we can see, again, this is just kind of a rehashing of what we already entered in, and just some more good numbers to know. So first of all, you can see here, now the income expense ratio, this is a nice number. This is basically the 2% rule. It tells you what percentage of the monthly rent is the purchase price. So in this case, the rent that comes in each month is 2.36% of the purchase price. And that actually beats the 2% rule. So anything higher than 2% beats the 2% rule. That's pretty cool in my mind. I can also tell my gross rent multiplier. I can tell the net operating income and my debt coverage ratio all here. All right, if we scroll down a little bit further, we can see the analysis over time. I can see year 1, 2, 3, 4, year 10, year 20, year 30. And then if I scroll even further, I can see graphs of kind of what my income, expenses, and cash flow are going to look like in the future, as well as what my equity, loan payoff, and property value will look like in the future. So finally, if I want to create a PDF report, I can do that by clicking right there, and I get a nice PDF report that I can print out and give to my partner or to a lender or whatever. It kind of shows what the property is going to look like and how it's going to do. So just to wrap up, let me just show you again. This property looks like a 19.65% cash on cash return, $450 a month in cash flow. I think that's pretty good. So for Bigger Pockets, this is Brandon signing off.